Taylor and Travis getting engaged and like the marriage coming, like everyone is like looking at it and almost like just this projection of like, oh, that's something that's to be celebrated. That's something to, be excited about. And it's like, why? Why is it something to be celebrated and excited about?
Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. Ever heard of him? Today's guest on the Form.Life podcast is not either one of them. But we are excited about who we got to be with. Bill, share a little bit about our
today
guest.
We get to be joined by Victoria Sawyer, and she is a licensed professional counselor here in the Kansas City area. And we had her on to talk all about love, romance, and just the phenomenon that is Travis and Taylor and their engagement. We just wanted to seize this moment because
that's right.
Love, relationships, romance, it is a part of all of our lives and taps into some of our deepest longings, some of our deepest hurts and disappointments. And so we just wanted to use this opportunity both to have some fun and talk about Taylor and Travis in Kansas City.
And celebrity culture.
But also to think about that through the lens of scripture and with someone who's trained as a counselor and who interacts with and helps couples and relationships all the time.
Yeah, Victoria has her training from Mid-America Nazarene University. She actually has recently engaged herself, so that was really fun. We had no idea that was true, but then we got here and just had a blast talking about that with her, and overall just had a really wonderful conversation. We're excited for you to hear it. Let's dive in right now.
Welcome to this episode of the Form.Life podcast. We're so glad you're joining us to talk about something that is a part of all of our lives, which is a fascination that we all have with love and romance, and certainly celebrity culture is a part of that as well. And we're so glad to have you join us, Victoria, to have this conversation. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah,
we are really glad that we got to gather together to do this. And we want to start with some recent news in this arena. We're living in a moment where the relationship between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, I think we've all heard those names before, they've captivated really the world at large. And maybe some people are kind of they're just out because there's been so much interest in it. But I know that's not really the case for the three of us. So I'd love to just start by asking, they got engaged a few weeks ago. Where were you when you heard the news? What was going on? What was your initial reaction? And maybe the three of us could just share as well a little bit about kind of our thoughts on these two celebrities and where they're at. And we're here in Kansas City. Overland Park is where we're recording this. Leawood is not far away.
we're probably less than 5 miles away.
Yeah,
that's right.
3 miles away. I don't know.
That's right.
It's just like right over there.
Exactly. So close. And so where were you two when you heard the news about their engagement?
Oh, well, I was actually on a lunch walk with my boyfriend, and I had just walked out the door and my phone just starts buzzing. And I'm like, I'm in group chats and stuff, but this is like multiple group chats. And they're like, did you see all caps, screenshots, all the things? And so he's like trying to talk to me about something. I'm like, doesn't matter. I'm like, it's important stuff. And he's like, okay, fine. And so, it was just like, I was like, okay, let's look at the ring. Where was it? Was it here? Like, all the questions were bubbling up. But like, I had so many people texting me. And then my mom, who's not a Swiftie at all, texted me separately and was like, we have to know where she got engaged. We have to find that place.
Sure. The flowers were so beautiful.
Oh, that was gorgeous.
Everyone was wondering, and of course it comes out it was in his backyard.
And everyone's like, oh, bummer.
That's right. I want to know who the florist was, because somebody did that work.
For
and they did
real.
a great job. They did a great job.
Yeah.
So what about you, Bill?
Yeah, I was around 10,000 feet in Breckenridge, Colorado, walking through the downtown area of Breckenridge, and we had been hiking earlier that day, and I hadn't really looked at my phone a whole lot, and Rachel was with the kids somewhere else, and so I just pulled out my phone, and I had a text from Ashton Fair, who's one of our pastors on our staff, works closely with me, and she said, did you see the news? And I was like, no, I was just not even looking at news. We were on vacation. And so immediately clicked through there and handed my phone to Rachel, and that's how we found out. And looked at all the pictures, and did the whole thing. But yeah, so we were in Colorado enjoying Breckenridge at the time. So it was great.
I was in a training. It was, kind of the middle of the day, right when the news broke, and I was in a training at our downtown campus with a number of different staff members from downtown in Shawnee. And at the training ended, and there was one of the staff members just said, "Hey," just like as soon as the training ended, like spoke up and said the news. And I was really impressed that they waited and didn't like interrupt the person who was giving the training. And my wife is a huge Taylor Swift fan, and my family, we love the Chiefs. So I didn't even respond. I just walked out of the room and called her to make sure she knew. And of course and she was at a lunch thing at the Leawood campus, and the news had broken out there. And so kind of all over different parts of Christ community and in the mountains of Colorado and in a walk with your boyfriend, we're all getting the texts, the updates, all of that, and just are fascinated by this moment. So what were some of your reactions to this? And they've been dating now for a couple of years. This is a big step. She's had, obviously a number of boyfriends before Travis. Again, us here in Kansas City, we were probably pretty invested and hoping that this one would go the distance or that they would take this step. But what were some of your initial reactions, or even to speak a little bit to your broader kind of history with this couple and with Taylor or Travis? Victoria, any
Yeah,
thoughts on that?
so, I mean, I was on the train of this from the beginning. I have a shirt that says "Go Taylor's boyfriend," but now
Yes.
I
Oh,
need
I
to, like,
love
change
those.
to say "Go Taylor's
Beyonce. I saw
fiance,"
that on
you
I when
know?
watching the
Oh, now I
NFL
need
this
to go
last
get
week.
one, but,
Somebody did
like,
that. Yeah.
I just watching the way that they interacted, I'm like, I know we don't know, interpersonally how that is, but just watching how, like, she has been so supportive of him in the wins and the losses, and, like, she comes to the games, and, like, it's just kinda become, like, a whole, like, affair, family affair, and then even with, like, his brother and, like, the way they interact and just watching, her with his mom, just the whole thing just has had just the air about it that was like, this is different. Because I think I had seen something that was comparing, this relationship with the old relationship, and she was, like, hiding her face, she was looking down a lot, she had a lot of this, like, body language that was just very, like, sheltered, secretive kind of effect, and so with her, it's just like she was thriving and glowing, and the way he supported
Oh my
her.
gosh, I was just gonna say that.
Yes,
It's really
like,
beautiful.
it's so beautiful, and I can imagine, like, as Travis, like, in his world, he is such a big player, like, everyone knows the Kelceys, but, like, for him to step into her world a little bit and to be like, "No, I'm the boyfriend of Taylor Swift," like, that's
So
so
right.
huge, and so, like, watching it, I think all the conversation that I've been in and heard has been like, "We really hope this lasts," because it just seems so sweet and so genuine and so just different, and like a good different compared to what she had before, and, as Kansas Cityans, we're all like, "Yeah,
I
we wanna
know.
claim her as
I know. I
ours,"
know.
so
That's right. That's right.
but
That's
yeah,
right. What's your
so
favorite
yep.
barbecue place?
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
it's like
Ex
merge all the Kansas City
all the
conversations
beautiful
into
things
one.
about Kansas City and just sprinkle it with
Well,
Taylor Swift on top.
they just walked into his new restaurant last weekend. Like, they just
Yes.
walked in, like, kinda it's like it's and that's the sort of sense of it, right? Or I remember a
Yeah.
couple years ago, maybe even before, or no, it was after they were dating, I think. He's at the Trader Joe's in Leawood, and it's like, but we were chill. Kansas City was chill. Like, we
Yeah.
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
inundate
That's right.
him. It's
I
like,
heard about that,
yeah, right. It's like
yeah.
that kinda like we wanna
Mhm.
believe that they're part of us.
It's that
So
Midwestern
beautiful.
nice,
I was
Oh,
gonna say
right,
that, the
right.
Midwestern
No,
culture of,
Yeah.
like, "Let me support you, but
Yes.
also, like, not bother you
You're right.
either."
That's right. Well, and he's been here for so long, right? Like,
Ye
he started his career here. I mean, he hasn't been with any other team. Presumably, he'll finish his career here, right? That would be shocking if he didn't. And so we really feel like this kind of homegrown sense for him.
Oh,
And then I
yeah.
don't know. It's just really, yeah. So
Yeah.
what were your thoughts
Yeah.
on all that, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, again, I was hoping that it would last, and because I think, as much as you can care about someone who's a celebrity, but I care about this person, Taylor Swift, and I know that, yeah, even after the Tortured Poets Department album came out, I understand, like, she went through a lot there, and so part of me was just like, oh, I hope that she has a happy ending to this story with Travis. I remember watching the end of the Super Bowl when they won, and Travis is celebrating in Las Vegas. It's going crazy. And I remember thinking like, oh, Travis, don't mess this up. Cause like she kind of is on the field and I was trying to like gauge, like, is she happy about this? Is she embarrassed by him
The
right
whole
now?
internet was breaking down
Right,
her
yeah.
facial
I was like-
expressions.
You couldn't
when
read
he was
her at
there,
all.
right.
She
I was
did a
like,
good
I
job.
know.
Yeah.
Well, she also had just gotten back from Japan. Right. I mean, that was the famous, it's like, is she even going to make it? And they had that moment where he asked her, are you tired? And the mics caught her saying, jet lag is a choice. Which is just an all-time quote. Jet lag is a choice. Cracked me up. So, but yes, I remember that. We were on the fence. We didn't know. Was he going to screw it up?
Yeah. And then I just think as, someone who's thinking from like a biblical worldview, a Christian pastor perspective too, it's like I love that they're pursuing marriage and this
Absolutely.
picture of that hopefully can be an example. And again, hopefully that marriage will last and endure as well. But I think anytime we can hold up the goodness and the value of marriage, even and we don't know their faith or how that angle comes into it in their stories, but I think anytime we can hold up that the goodness of this covenant of marriage and celebrate that and actually have a moment in a culture that I think in many ways is very cynical about marriage and that kind of thing, to say like actually to celebrate the goodness of an engagement in a marriage is really cool. I was trying to think back historically, like when's the last time that the world, like the planet of Earth, has been this excited about two people getting married? And
Well, the royal wedding.
yeah,
I
well,
was gonna say,
but I
like,
was like, I don't. Was
Kate,
that?
maybe?
But is it even like Diana? Like, I think the level of
Celebrity.
Yeah.
notoriety.
Yeah.
I mean, because Kate and William it was somewhat, but I mean, like, just the worldwide love and affection for
And like the
Diana.
generational stories
Yeah,
of it. Like
yeah.
my mom tells me stories all the time of how she was up in the middle of the night because, back then you can't watch it later. She was up in the middle of the night watching it on her TV because she was just enraptured by Diana and just thought it was
That's a good parallel.
beautiful. And so that's really good.
But so as we think about it, though, it's like it doesn't matter. It's your mom's generation. It's
Yeah.
generations before. It's like we are captivated by these stories. They touch something deep in our hearts or psyches.
There's a reason.
By that, and so as a counselor, as someone who's sitting with people, and your whole life is about your career is about relationships and helping people navigate, whether those are romantic relationships or familiar relationships, workplace relationships. But what are you noticing as your clients navigate romantic love in your own life, and where do you think this kind of universal interest comes from? And also, I mean, this is right in the middle of your own story, like less than a week ago, Victoria. So maybe even like tell us a little bit of that, and just like what are you seeing in your office when you sit down with people?
Absolutely. So on the personal side, yes, I just got engaged myself on last.
Congratulations.
Yes, we're
Thank
so
you.
excited about
And
that.
We had no idea that was going to
No,
happen when we asked you to do this.
And when I agreed to do it, did not know it was happening.
So this couldn't be any more perfect.
I know, and it was at Arrowhead too. So like that is like the
That's awesome.
little cherry on top.
Yeah,
there.
before we were recording, you were sharing that was you and your boyfriend
Yes.
went first date.
Our
was that
first date was at
game?
that freezing playoff game
like
in
the
January.
one with the Dolphins?
Yeah,
That was like
nope. It was
okay.
the one. Who were they playing?
The one that set all the cold records?
No,
Oh,
it was
okay.
actually the one. Whatever the one was in January.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think it was the Texans. And so I just remember being freezing. But also, ironically, to add to the story, I didn't know it was a date. For the record.
Okay.
In his brain,
It
it was
was.
the
That was the
ultimatum
first
of I'm
date.
either asking her out or I'm never talking to her again. So he officially asked me out a couple days later. And so, But
then he
that's
brought it
why.
full circle
He
with the
brought it full
proposal.
circle. We went back to Arrowhead, and after a tour of the whole place, which you can get tours, guys. Fun fact for the audience over there. You end the tour on the field, and you can't go on it because of a special grass and stuff. But we were on the edge of the field. It was nobody else there, and I turned around and there he is on his knee. I was like, oh, okay. Like it was
Two Chiefs love stories.
Yeah.
Right here. And one of them is our podcast guest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So as far as like clients and stuff, I went into counseling just really because I was so curious about the dynamics of relationships. And I was the weirdo in internship that was like, I love couples. I love the dynamic of couples. I love just all the stuff that they bring to the table. You have such a cool, like, union of stories and backgrounds, and so, from what I am seeing is, like, a lot of them are coming in with just, like, not knowing how to connect well with their partner. That is the biggest thing, and it's a lot of times going down to this need for communication and, like, how to communicate well, but I also work from an attachment lens, and so in attachment, it's like a lot of the main aspects of attachment are just the safety, security, feeling known, feeling seen, feeling heard, all of those aspects that, the other person helps you, helps to learn about you. And so what I usually am helping clients through is how can I slow down enough to connect with this other person that I am living the rest of my life with? And like we get so distracted by the outside stuff that it's easy to forget, oh, this person in front of me is like here for me. Like they chose me, I'm choosing them. And it's just reminding them about the importance of making that choice. And on top of it, with just the way that our society is now, every social media is like the biggest, like anything on your phones, to be honest, is the biggest distraction in relationships.
Right.
And it like creates a lot of, assumptions and a lot of like kind of misguided expectations of like what your relationship would look like because you have this aspect of this parasocial relationship where it's like influencers that you follow, those perfect families you follow, all of those things kind of put forth this image of like this is how life is, this is what it looks like, this is we're great, everything's perfect, we go on vacations all the time, and so it kind of creates almost this generalized expectation of this is how relationships look rather than the reality of like no, relationships can be messy and you can have a lot of misunderstandings. But what I really try to teach my clients is how can we repair well, like, because I mean fights are inevitable, conflict is inevitable, like that happens because you have two different perspectives coming at each other, but how you fix it and how you repair it is the biggest and probably most important aspect that I feel like I continually am trying to teach, not only my couple clients, but like my individual ones I see too, because they're all in relationships with people
Exactly,
too.
right.
So it's not just the couples that I see. It's like the individual is talking about, something with their husband or something with like the friend or whatever the case may be. And so it's just a lot of that. I feel like I get on these trends with my clients that it's kind of the same stuff, but just kind of altered a little bit to match the situation. But it all kind of goes down to this need to be seen and heard and loved by another person.
So you talk about that importance of repair, right? Because we live in this world that is broken. There's gonna be ruptures in relationships. There's gonna be disappointment, missed expectations, all this. So what, as you work with your clients, what do you see as some like keys to doing the repair? Like, and obviously each conflict is different, but
Yeah,
like just
yeah,
generally, as you're helping like think about, okay, how do we do the repair?
yeah.
Like
No,
what do you do, or what are the steps or the
there's
principles? Yeah.
yeah, there's so many different steps that you can take, but the one that I tend to use the most and I see that helps my clients the most is actually a concept by John Gottman. And he's like the guru when it comes to anything with relationships. You're nodding your
The
hands
Got
like
the Gottman method,
the
right?
Gottman
Yes,
method. We
yes, I'm
love it.
aware.
But
Yeah, yeah.
he has this one concept called attunement or just attune, and he breaks that down. And I wish I could remember what all of them mean. Just look it up, everybody, the attune method. But that kind of gives couples the step by step of like, okay, we're going to hear the other person without judgment. We're going to reflect back on what we're hearing just to clarify that we heard them correctly. And then state what are your needs? Or like if it was me with my now fiance, like it would be I need this, and he would come back at me with like, okay, how can we work on that together, how can we come together to do this? And it kind of gives just a very easy bite-size way for people to create maybe that repair, even though it doesn't look perfect. It's never gonna look perfect, but it at least gives this little bit of a step-by-step to help them make it feel like it's attainable, because it can feel, like, really scary. I mean, as one who doesn't like conflict myself, it can be very scary to have to, like, come back and be like, "I was wrong," or "I didn't see this right," or "Can you please clarify this?" And so to have just a little bit of a guideline and to know, like, this person isn't out to get me, this person is here to support me and to love me, it helps build that attachment, which in turn, creates more of a safe and secure attachment with who that person is. Yeah.
Yeah. So good. That's
Mhm.
really helpful. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. When it comes to, we talk about the near universal interest in romantic love, the importance of that. You're seeing this in your clients, and I'm reflecting upon just the simplicity of what the New Testament says, that God is love, and we know, created in the image of God, and so wondering even if that's where the near universal interest comes from, is that we're designed in the image of this God who is
Absolutely.
himself love. So how do you map in, and I know you would want and need your clients to invite and want them to map in the story of God to your work with them, but where do you see that make a big difference, whether it's on the repair side or just even in helping make sense of all of this? Where does God's word speak in? Where does God's story fit in? Where does the idea, the theology that God himself is love, where does all that fit and map into this conversation about human love and romance?
Yeah, I feel like for the way I do therapy is I'm a Christian who's a therapist. And so everything I do is comes from my relationship with God and what I've learned in that relationship on top of the clinical psychological stuff that I also have learned in grad school and everything else with that. But I tend to use a lot of biblical concepts, which are across the board
Yeah.
the ways to, help with conflict, help make connection. We're wired for connection. Like we were created to be in relationship. And so I emphasize that with my clients, but I said it this week of, hey, a soft answer turns away wrath. Coming at it with a soft answer instead of I talk about, reacting versus responding a lot
Yeah.
with my clients, and so there's that concept that backs that up, but with, like, my clients who are believers and want that as part of their therapy, we'll look at, Philippians 4, where it's like, okay, our thoughts guide how we interact with people, how we react and respond to people. And so it's like, okay, what are you dwelling on? Like, what is the internal narrative? What are the things that you constantly consume? Because that has a say in how you respond to somebody else. Because I know if I'm having a bad day and all I'm doing is watching true crime, which I love, but if I watch too much of it, you just feel heavy and it feels a lot. And so I won't respond as positively or
Right.
as well as I would like to because I'm just thinking about the bad. But I also turn towards, the love chapter in First Corinthians. And it's like that gives us this blueprint of what does love look like. And so on top of that, that's where you add in a lot of those concepts from Gottman, which he does a great job of it. And he even has this is something I'll introduce to my couple clients early on is he talks about the four horsemen, and the four horsemen are the things that create, conflict and just animosity in communication. And so it also has, the antidotes. And a lot of that is also based off biblical concepts and the soft startups and like those kinds of things. So, yeah, it's really just more of like it follows along with the basics of what you do in general to diffuse any conflict or try to repair any conflict. So it comes, I guess, a little more naturally because I spend my time in the word and it just kind of just flows, I guess.
Well, and that's exactly what I would expect, and so it's just really amazing, and the times where I have, received therapy myself from really thoughtful, amazing Christians and followers of Jesus who also are, therapists and have their training, I've experienced very, very similar things on the side of those that are receiving the counseling. And it really is to think about just the beauty of God's design and how integrative it really is. It's just like discovering deeper and deeper treasure troves of how God made his world and made us
That's
and
beautiful.
loves us. And so it's fun to hear you reflect upon
Mhm.
that. It's really meaningful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I love in the storyline of scripture the centrality of like this kind of covenantal love that like
Yeah.
is
Hesed.
woven through the whole story. Pope John Paul II in his Theology of the Body, a lot of people have done like kind of the translating that work and popularize it really. So you can summarize the story of the Bible as God wants to marry you. And the beginning of the Bible is the story of Adam. It begins with a wedding in the
Yeah.
garden of creating male and female and bringing them together. And then you have God making this covenant with his people at Sinai. We just not long ago at Christ Community were exploring some of those preaching in just this relationship that happens there. And then ultimately, Jesus is coming as and talks about the church as his bride, and the story of the wedding, of the coming together of heaven and earth. This is where it's all headed. And so I think, I don't remember who said this. Maybe it was John Piper years ago, but it was like, it wasn't like God sort of created male and female in marriage and then said, oh, you know what? That would be a great way to talk about my relationship to my people. It's like he created these things to reveal
Yes.
the ways in
Mhm.
which he loves us, the ways in which we betray him. You think about the book of Hosea and all these kinds of things. And so this is so central, like these kinds of relationships and truly the drama of these relationships
Mhm.
is the drama of the story of the Bible. Hans Urs von Balthasar talks about the drama of Scripture, and it is a dramatic thing that's unfolding. And
Absolutely.
so when we
You've seen
tap,
some drama in your office,
yeah,
I'm sure.
when you
I'm
tap into
from
right,
couples.
yeah, when you tap into
Yeah.
that, you are tapping into like the great cosmic drama of the world, which is will the people that God loves be rescued, repair that relationship with him, and live in this marriage forever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so this is just,
So
I think that's
beautiful.
that universal desire that we feel.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
it's really
yeah.
beautiful, and it is also I don't know, there's a, like, when we project forward, like, we know from the New Testament, they will neither in the new heavens and new earth, they will neither marry nor be given in marriage. Like, romantic love is so central to so many of our lives, and something that a lot of people, I'm sure you've seen this in your office as well, Victoria, a lot of people long for, and it's unrealized,
Yep.
or it falls way short of expectations, or it
Absolutely.
falls apart in the worst sort of way, right?
Mhm.
But it all is pointing to a moment where, like, that desire that we have is realized in a way between us and God, and it won't happen in the same way. Like, human
Right,
love still exists in the new heavens and the new earth, right? But there's something about romantic love in a covenant union between a man
right,
and a woman that is fulfilled when Christ comes to be with his people in the marriage feast of the Lamb. So,
right.
yeah, I don't know, it's beautiful, and, like, I don't know, there's just something about that.
Well, I love what you're saying there about the projection because, like, as I was thinking about just this whole, the phenomena of Taylor and Travis getting engaged and like the marriage coming, like
Yeah.
everyone is like looking at it and almost like just this projection of like, oh, that's something that's to be celebrated. That's something to, be excited about. And it's like, why? Why is it something to be celebrated and excited about? And it's like, if you really step back on that, it goes back to kind of that, again, that concept of like, as humans, we were created to seek God. We were created to seek relationship with God. And because He created, marriage, like that is something, whether we tell ourselves it is or not, that is something that we desire. And you're right. Like I do have clients who have been sitting, who are single and who are like, I don't want to be single. Why am I single? Like this is not what I expected out of life. Like life told me I was supposed to be married with 3 kids by now.
That's right.
And so it's like there is that desire, like deep, deep down that maybe we don't really know, but it's like we still are drawn to those stories. And like I was telling you guys earlier, I'm a big Disney fan. All of it ends in what? Happily ever after. We love the happy endings. We love, the princess and the prince, getting married at the end. But it's like we now have like this culture that's created that, but then it's tried to uncreate that. And now it's like all of a sudden we're drawn. I mean, we're always been drawn to it, but now it's like I feel like with Taylor and Travis, it's going to do the Taylor Swift effect again, where it's gonna, okay, are people going to really consider marriage now? And I actually looked it up and they said that, well, Google search just for like what her ring was alone went up 10,001%. It was something insane.
Wow.
And then they said just Googling engagement rings in general upped 300%. Like, I was so
Wow.
curious.
Some jewelers out there are very
Yeah,
happy right
jewelers
now.
out there are like, yes. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm like, that shows just the impact of this. And like, maybe that is a sign for some people that they're like, oh, maybe this is something I want, where in society we've been told, no, you don't want to get married. It's fine. You don't need that. And so now it's like, okay, but the numbers and the trends are now following that because the biggest pop star in the world is considered it and is doing that.
Yeah.
So it just shows like crazy
That's
things
fascinating.
like that.
Well, speaking of like Google and YouTube and the volume of energy that this has created on the internet, I think we have, and it's probably more by now. When we've put this in here, it was like 22 million views on the podcast that they
yeah.
New Heights, the New Heights podcast.
They broke the internet with
Oh
the
my
thing.
gosh, they
which,
did. They did.
the format podcast is rapidly gaining on New Heights.
Nice.
So just look out.
Nice.
Look out,
world.
Jason
Look
Kelsey.
out.
It's not 20.
We are.
It's not, we're coming for you.
We're coming for you.
Yeah, it's 22, not 22 million.
We only have 21 million and change to go. But this episode's gonna really help us, I think.
It
you
is.
guys. So,
Victoria's been great. She's gonna punch the numbers in the right direction.
And obviously, it's so fun to engage in these stories.
Right.
Whether it's and this, I think the thing is, you're bringing together like the biggest sport in the world, the NFL, well, maybe soccer for our true
Globally, yes.
But
Globally, yes. In
that's right, we got the
America.
NFL,
The biggest
And
American
and the world's
sport.
biggest pop star. Like, this is an incredible. But like, whether you're into sports, whether you're into whatever you're into, it's fun to follow celebrities and these stories and these people.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Taylor or Travis.
Yeah, no.
You might have your own celebrity that you're interested in.
And
or-
what I've discovered too is my kids is like, there's all these like niche YouTube celebrities that
Oh,
like
man.
That's
or
right.
TikTok celebrities who have like millions of people. You or I may never heard of them, but if you're into this one, really. But anyway, as we think about following celebrities, their stories, just even as a therapist, as a counselor, where is that like healthy, fine, good? Where does that start to maybe become like this is unhealthy or disruptive,
into idolatry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have really one thing that sums it up is comparison. Comparison kills joy. Like we have this, when we're younger, I'm thinking about like lifespan development, when we're in our adolescent years, all we care about is everyone around us and what's happening with everyone around us and how can I be like them. And some of that usually, if you're developing in a healthy way, goes away and you start coming to your own, being like, I'm okay with where I'm at, like I'm fine. But I think because we are so inundated with social media and texting and TikTok and like all this stuff all the time, it just has become like the societal norm to constantly be comparing ourselves, whether like we know we're doing it or not. Like I catch myself doing that and be like, oh, I wish I looked like this. Like right now, Pinterest is my best friend planning a wedding.
Of course.
And so I'm like, oh, I really like that. But I don't think I could get it to look like that. But like, I really like that. And so it's like when we compare ourselves constantly, and that is like told to us that we need to compare ourselves and to, this person, this person, this person, you start losing the individuality and just the uniqueness of yourself. And I usually with my clients, a lot of them have like the ruminating thoughts. And so it's the constant, we call it tapes that you have in your head that are telling you these things are like, you're not good enough. You're not this enough. You don't have this, so you'll never succeed. And a lot of times, I mean, I view a lot of times as like Satan is telling you lies. He's feeding into the insecurities that you have and just repeating them and repeating them and repeating them. And so, believe it or not, I tell all my clients how you start your day, what you fill your mind with has an impact on everything that you do. And so, we're in a world of, affirmations and meditation and, mindfulness and all this stuff. And like, there's a place for some of that. But if you're a believer and you fill your head with the word, you fill your mind with the word, that's why Philippians 4:8 is my favorite verse of all time, because it says it right there. It's like, whatever's true, what is lovely, whatever is good, like dwell on these things. And so if we are dwelling on these things of like, God put me exactly where I needed to be. God had me go through the stuff that might not have been comfortable, but I needed to go through it because now I'm exactly where I am, and like that constant being in the center of his will every single day. And so I mean, I think it also comes down to this moderation. Like, how often are you on your phone? Like, do you have, timers on your phone? Like, I have a thing that turns off all of my notifications at a certain time. And I'm a little ADHD. So if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. So I'm like, I'm not going to check it. But it's just the moderation of how often are you on there? And is it to a point that you're only viewing that and not filling yourself with the good things, with the gratitude, with God's word, with positive things, with relationships with others. And yeah, just that moderation is an important key in that,
I,
for
I love
sure.
I love that because it's like I'm thinking you can go the other way where it becomes like a absolutely not, nothing, no, never, and then I think we're veering really close to some dangerous spots of legalism and becoming like the Pharisees that Jesus
Yeah.
sort of spoke very strongly against. That yeah, we all need to make wise choices in terms of what we're consuming, and moderation's a huge part of that. But gosh, isn't there just a way to engage, even hopefully as we've done here today, with some laughter, with some lightness? But I kind of doubt that any of the three of us are like the Zapruder film on all the Taylor Swift numerology stuff, right? I mean, it's like all temperance, moderation, prudence, and starting with God and his word. It's like, and then there's freedom to engage and have fun, kind of almost is like, and that's kind of one of the goals we had with this episode is
Yeah.
to laugh a little bit
Yeah.
and enjoy, but then also be able to say, God and his word first. Yeah.
Yeah, and my pastor growing up always would say, "Keep the main thing the main thing."
Mm,
And that's what you have to remind yourself, especially as believers. Like, what is the main thing? That is Christ, as your
Jesus. That's
relationship
right.
with Christ. Exactly. Exactly. Mhm.
Bill, do you want to ask our final question?
Sure.
We always
Well,
ask.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Victor, whenever we have a guest on the podcast, we always wrap up with it's kind of a get to know you question and just open up
I
another
love
side
it.
of who you are. But
Oh, boy.
if you were to do, and we never tell our guests, we don't ever know the
We don't
answer.
know what's coming.
We
We've
give
gotten
you this
some
question. So,
amazing
yeah.
answers.
So, if you could do something other than the amazing work that you do as a licensed therapist and counselor and all that, what would you do? Well, there's another alternate universe somewhere, and
Yeah, yeah.
Victoria's out there. What is her job? What is she
Oh, yeah.
doing?
Buckle in, guys. You ready for this?
I don't know. Tell us.
Hostage negotiator. No
Whoa, that's a
joke.
good one.
Okay.
We've
I
not gotten that
oh
one.
so when I was younger, I probably would have said pop star, princess, any of those things.
Taylor
But
Swift.
yeah, like exactly what she does. Like, I was a dancer growing up, so I was like, I love the stage, but I got a young love for true crime,
Yeah,
and
you mentioned that. Yeah.
yeah, I loved it and was like so fascinated by the psychology behind it. But yeah, I read a book once. Don't remember the book, but she was a hostage negotiator. And I was like, this is fascinating. Like, you get to be in the action, you get to talk to the person
Yeah.
and basically like feed into their like psychosis and be like, hey, you really should let them go. And here's why. And then, you get to see the joy of them getting arrested afterwards. But yeah, I almost went that path, but God had other plans for me. It's not too late, though. You never know.
It feels like
Honestly.
it has some parallels. I was gonna say,
You know, yeah. Be a
it's
consultant or
it's a type
something.
of counseling.
Yeah.
I don't know.
KCPD, I see
Yeah,
you.
that's
You
right.
know.
Well, I'm a chaplain for KCPD, so I interact with hostage negotiators on a
There we
regular
go.
basis.
I watched the
Call you
movie
later.
Inside Man once.
Yeah.
So I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
That is
awesome.
amazing,
Yeah.
Victoria.
What a great
I love
answer.
that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not too late for you to do that someday, so I'm just gonna,
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
yeah.
that.
You
I
know
like
what?
it.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It isn't.
Yeah.
That's right.
Gotta get a little stronger in my skills, and then I'll consider it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Thank
amazing.
you for
That's so
answering
good.
that question. And thanks for joining us. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this was
Boss.
really wonderful. Great conversation. Really enjoyed the time with you. So,
Yeah.
you want to wrap us up?
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode of the Form.life podcast. Any resources or links, those kind of things we mentioned will be in the show notes, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.